I began this journey on X, where I came across this post right here. This post by Harrison H. Smith says, "I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them."
I think a big part of what their game is to convince us to despair.
Hey, what up, peoples? Zycon Emaflow here, back on another episode of Iris on the Eye. We're just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna try to break down the happenings of the most recent scandalous, controversial, political Illuminati event that we're dealing with right now. So let's get into it.
Now, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Harrison H. Smith released this statement where he discusses and further clarifies what he meant by the tweet.
I wanted to make a video at least to talk a little bit about my tweet that's gone completely viral from last month. It's now the #1 tweet on anything Benjamin Netanyahu is posting. So thanks, guys. Really glad I'm on his radar now. That's cool. But it's true. I mean, I don't really have too much to add to it, honestly. I'm not going to say who it was that told me because they've asked me not to, kind of for obvious reasons. So if they want to go public, they're more than welcome to. I don't have much to add to it other than basically a month ago, I watched an interview with Megyn, Kelly, and Charlie Kirk, and I thought they looked scared, and I commented on that, made a video out of it.
So this clip is coming from this video, the video from this dude Izzy, kind of a conspiracy theorist kind of guy. It seems like very deep into esoteric knowledge and things of that nature, but I kind of chopped it up for the ease of my own reaction of reacting to another person's reaction video, which is kind of I don't know how I feel about it, but it's what I'm doing. But I hit the link to all of the stuff that I'm going to be reacting to is in the description, so if you want to look at his stuff, or it's going to be a Sam Hyde video, you want to check out any of the Sam Hyde clip video, you can do that. It's in the description. But here we're going to go look at the interview where Charlie Kirk, and this is not, it's just a clip of the interview. You can, again, the interview is also in the description, of just his how he feels disgruntled, or his feathers were ruffled by the fact that he was such a big I love Jewish people and I'm here supporting the state of Israel and defending it from its critics, and then as soon as I point out anything kind of that goes against the narrative of the people in power of these places, that they kind of are just immediately turning on me and saying that I'm not Jewish enough, and I don't love Jews enough, and that I'm a bad guy just as bad as all the people who I was defending them from. So that's just a really weird place to be, I would feel as someone who's doesn't come from the conspiracy side of things. It's just that you can't trust the people in power, that he just is in the system, and then the system is turning on him. He's getting the Agent Smith effect, if I could call it that. So yeah, we'll go into the Megyn Kelly interview now.
Also, with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that. Megyn, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it. Right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And however, Megyn, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group, because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie, you know, you're with us, you don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath.
But wait, there's more.
There are more videos of Charlie Kirk saying that he believed October 7th was an inside job and that there's no way that what happened on that day could have happened due to the mass surveillance that Israel has. Israel is the #1 surveillanced country on the planet. Okay, this is what Charlie Kirk had to say about that.
Guys not know this was taking place.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. But I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand-down order? Was there a stand-down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. 6 hours.
So yeah, that one comes from PBD, Paul something Davis. I don't remember his last name. Bates Davis, maybe. It was that's also in the description if you want to check it out. Trying to source everything publicly and freely available, so you guys don't think I'm just fucking like stealing, like that I'm not that good of an artist, that I'm just stealing and not getting caught. And also, I think it's like important as someone who's trying to like be either like a figurehead, but also like a fucking outlet / like a source that people can come to and be like, this guy's telling me the truth, that I cite my sources and I'm not just fucking bullshitting. So yeah, it's important, I feel. But PBD, that clip is actually like chopped up, because I was watching the interview a little bit to like see the timeline part of this whole side of thing. But like, yeah, that clip is like chopped up and not out of context, because he does say all that stuff, but like they reorder it so it seems like he's more like on a bend of like, yeah, Israel's fucking crazy and like did a 9/11 on themselves, false flag operation, which when that happened, very much they had the exact same opinion. I'm just like, dog, like it's literally the Iron Dome it's the most surveilled country in the world. Borders, like why would they just let people run around with their crappy technology, and then later to come to find out that Benjamin Netanyahu is funding freaking what the heck's his name? Whatever the Gaza's terrorist group, Hamas, those guys, like he's funding that. And then actually in that Paul Bates Davis interview, Charlie, because he's very well informed about Israeli politics, goes on to like claim and say like why.
And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand-down order?
But let's move on along to the Sam Hyde show. This is going to be him and Nick Fuentes chopping it up. And I put this in here as more of let's see, it's just like more of just someone who like is willing to stand up to, or at least call out things that are happening. Like maybe not so much because Nick Fuentes is an extremely controversial human being. And I thought back before I knew what the alt-right was that it was like some new cultural push towards trying to like truth and freedom, but it's kind of just like maybe a little bit more racist than that. And I believe that principles and content of character are more important than the color of your skin. I go very much into the Martin Luther King side of things, and I think that people who are like racist, whether they hate white people for being white or black people for being black, don't really like that, which is, I'm okay with them not liking me. So let's get into the next clip.
I think a big part of what their game is to convince us to despair.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, Ye reposted that video from ants where the grasshoppers say, if all the ants stand up, you know, then we're dead. And it's like, that psychology is so critical where, and a big part of even the anti-Semitism stuff is in the old days, someone would say anything about
Brazilian.
And they would isolate that person and just do like an orbital strike on their entire existence. And it would put everybody back in line because everybody say, whoa, you know, we don't want that to happen to us. And now it's like, what if we all rushed Area 51? You know, it's like Danville's area. You know? And I'm a big believer in like, one day they might not show up to the battlefield and then we win. You know, one day they might collapse. One day the guy that's going to ban you on Twitter like dies in a car crash on his way to the office. You know, nothing is written. I'm a big believer and we have to be sober, but also optimistic in a sense, hopeful about the future.
Guys, we're back. Do you even notice a break?
You know, a lot of people look at me and think, you know, I'm a good personality on air. But I always wanted to just be in politics, and I started doing a live stream as like a hobby. I guess I reflect on how my life was sort of just like a series of reactions, sort of like one thing led to another. And I think about how strange that is, how I was doing the normal thing, which is you go to college, you be a college Republican, you're outspoken during a contentious election. You go from Cassie Dillon live streaming your debate or whatever, and one thing leads to another, and you wind up at Charlottesville at January 6th, tweeting about the election, having a guy try to kill you. And it literally is just like, if you never submit to the system and you keep matching them and raising the stakes, eventually it gets to that point where they kill you or try to kill you. It's just sort of like a weird through the looking glass situation where it's almost like you're on the edge of reality.
And here we are on the fringe. I've always personally felt like I'm like an outsider in a very human like level. Yeah, there's a bunch of shit I could say from like my thing, but I'm trying to keep this like relatively short. And it's just so, I feel like that's everything he said of just the escalation of your life becoming more and more complex as you get older, and like the way that like once you get involved in these like things of power and prestige and deception, spy versus spy level kind of bullshit that like, yeah, they come for you. The demons, the evil, the corruption, it doesn't want the truth in the light to shine, to like be exposed and be like, oh shit, yeah, no, this is actually what is going on. But that's tried to, again, this is like the more concrete mainstream, like this is what's happening level thing, and now we're gonna get into the deeper potential realities or people pointing to things that are more what I can only describe as like schizoid or paranoiac, paranoiac level things of like you're just noticing shit that like may actually is there, but is your interpretation of what's there actually the facts? So this is gonna be the point where I'm gonna put a little like not trigger warning, but like schizoid tinfoil hat level, like I don't actually know, but big if true.
Everybody, it's Angel Dust. I come to you tonight as the harbinger of death. So like many of you, I've been watching all of the information. I've been talking to some special ops friends of mine, and there's a particularly strange set of events behind this that are really weird. First of all, Charlie had officially turned on the Trump administration around the Epstein files. He'd also completely reversed his Zionistic approach to the treatment of Israel, AIPAC, and all of that stuff. He was basically going against the party line, okay? That's A. B, there was almost perfect setup here, the way this thing went down, in that the shot goes off, everybody scatters, and immediately somebody is taken down as the perp, right? This person was George Zinn, a political gadfly, right-wing libertarian type who has a criminal arrest record, is constantly at public political events. It just looks really weird, and it wasn't the guy. Generally, in official operations, this is the patsy, right? This is the guy that allows the other guy to get away. Then this. I want you to watch this, and I'm going to dig into this a little bit.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America?
Okay, so that was clearly a hand gesture, but watch what this is followed with.
Over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Let me show this in slow motion.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
It is clearly a succinct hand gesture, and I have it on good authority that the first gesture, the cap in the ear, is sniper ready, and the second hand gesture, the push-pull action, is fire at will. The Chinese curse really applies here. May you live in interesting times. Peace, blessings, and shine the fuck on.
So yeah, that is a take, and I can't speak to that. I have no connection to like any super well-trained military people, so I can't ask an expert and be like, hey, is that what that was? But I will say, and hopefully it's appearing on screen as I'm saying this, that there was some weird private jet that flew very rapidly away shortly after he was fucking attacked, shot, and unalived, and that they also turned off their transponder, which is like, it's just another paranoiac level of like, if there was going to be the conspiracy of someone or intelligence agencies doing this operation, then like, yeah, they would use a private jet that doesn't have to like go through security the way that like poor plebs got to go through the 9/11 turnstile level TSA scanners and bullshit, and that they turned off their scanner to not be tracked. I don't know where the plane landed. I don't know anything more than that, but these are just things that I've heard, a fact that I have, and then we'll let's get into the French dude.
Le sacrifice de Charlie Kirk est un rituel codé après une lune de sang. Et la veille du 11 septembre, qui est 33 jours avant son anniversaire. 33, c'est leur signature maçonnique. C'est pour ça que la chasse à l'homme a duré 33 heures. On avait aussi le tireur de New York qui s'est tué au 33e étage après 47 coups tirés. 47, l'angle du compas maçonnique. Ici, 33 pour ses initiales. 47 sur les casquettes. La fausse fusillade de Trump était 3 mois, 3 semaines et 3 jours avant son élection. Donc un pro-Trump, pro-Israël avec casquette MAGA, ça n'a rien de spontané. Il sacrifie son rôle, pas son corps. Netanyahou lui rend hommage. Trump poste un câlin avec le drapeau d'Israël. Le même jour, une série Hulu sort avec un politicien abattu à la gorge. Copy-paste rituel pour amplifier le basculement de conscience. La liberté d'expression symboliquement exécutée. En regardant de près, des indices sautent aux yeux. Son t-shirt est bombé. De profil, on voit son col très ouvert. Dispositif interne, peut-être. Geste codé des gardes. Et celui-là qui actionne une commande. Plan par plan, on voit bien que le t-shirt bouge avant l'impact. Comme si quelque chose avait éclaté à l'intérieur. Et des glitches visuels comme la bague qui change de doigt. Dans tous les cas, c'est une opération psychologique.
Yeah, so that one's like, we're all the way scraping the bottom of the ocean on that one. He said a lot of similar things and pointed to a lot of the secret societies and their ritualistic abuse of us in on a psychological, mythological, spiritual, or magic like occult level. And this is something that I would like to do more research into, and it's something that I believe but don't have a super shit ton of evidence for, but that like on a governmental level that people are doing like black magic rituals like this. At the very end there, yeah, the whole thing of like the ring being on a different finger and everything, I'm like, I don't know if that's actually truly, if that's really what the fuck is happening. Like that just might be some schizoid shit. Like I really don't know, which is again, I guess schizoid is me saying because there's like this whole thing of like being involved in analyzing psychological operations or operations that intelligence agencies are running on us, or rituals that they're doing on us to control us through fear, is like, you gotta use your eyeballs and your ears and like your heart of hearts, your intuition, and like use discernment to try to figure out what the frickety frock tickety tock is actually going on, and like what's separating the wheat from the chaff and trying to like be like, oh no, like this is closer to the real thing, because their entire job is to like lie so good by slipping and weaving in and tying together little bits of truth into their lies and deceptions, so that like they are harder and harder to decode or figure out and like tear apart and like actually like get to the bottom of like the situation, the facts as they truly actually really are beyond our perception of them. Fucking easy peasy that must be, right? So then we're just gonna jump into like those one little thing. So while I was doing the research for this video, I pulled up and asked, using ChatGPT as a modern person would do, and it had alluded to this thing that someone else is basically claiming that one piece of evidence that proves that this is an Israeli Mossad level like psyop or operation is that Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted before the official announcement was made that Charlie Kirk was dead. And I, through my research, found evidence that this is not the case. So I wanted to at least end on a note of like, hey, like after all of the crazy bullshit you just watched, like might have my perspective and what I think happened, and sharing that with you is in this reaction, but that like I am also like capable of like being not so ideologically driven as to what I think is actually going on. That like this Trump, it's not a tweet, it's Truth Network or whatever the heck the website is that it's on. Make sure to link it in the description because I'm kind of drawing a blank on where he posted this information. But this was, if you look at the time, whatever they're called, signatures, I can't think of the word right now, but the piece of thing that encodes when the tweet post was made, that like it was before Benjamin Netanyahu made his tweet on X. So it's like there was definitely some way of like paying attention and like noticing that like if the Trump, if he's paying attention to that channel of information, that Benjamin Netanyahu would have been totally more than capable of figuring it out and putting it together after it was released on this other platform. So that's kind of really it, is insofar as like my reaction and the situation as it stands. I think that maybe if I could project into the coming near future, the Mexican people are leaving and playing the music really loud. I don't know, maybe I would say, I mean, it's probably just going to be more Palantir bullshit and trying to figure out situations to like make it so we're going to have to get to the next election, I think, before they do anything too crazy. And I don't think people are ready to let Trump be a dictator. At least I would like vehemently resist that. So yeah, I mean, let's try to end on with a white pill, or what we could do. I'm gonna do my piece as an individual, and then as I grow an organization and get other individuals together, I'll figure it out and do my ritualistic white magic meditative prayers and manifesting, trying to pull in a timeline where we get the alien technology and we don't have to worry about money anymore, and like things are better than they are now. Like we might have to go through a couple more dark nights of the souls realistically, but it's like on the other side of like the pain and the fear and the anguish is the things that we're seeking, the love and the light and the hope. So we just gotta roll with it, man. And I guess we'll just end it there for now. Smile more, complain less, never ever give up till you discerned is for your darndest best. Namaste, have a great day. Slav Shun, if it's nighttime soon. Like, share, comment, subscribe, keep the algorithm satisfied, man. And if I don't see you while I'm alive, I'll catch you on the flip side after I die. Mahalo, aloha, live light, travel light, be the light. And whatever you do, do it well, take it easy, but do remember to take the medicine. Peace the fuck out.